Do you see any weak spots right now on the Nats roster?
Just the depth of their starting rotation. Actually, guys, I got a chance to see the Robles kid play in the Arizona Fall League and the Arizona Fall League Championship game. I did some games out there. It reminds me of a young Andrew McCutchen. It's an extremely talented kid. So I'm anxious to see how Michael Taylor shows up this spring, coming off, really a monster postseason for him. If he takes that next step forward, this kid probably won't even make that team, and he's an exceptionally talented kid. So they're deep in a lot of places, but they're not deep in the bottom of their rotation. So if they have injuries in their rotation, that could be the only red flag for them, because I do believe the Mets have a deeper rotation on paper than the Nats do going into the season.
Dan, looking in the rear view for the Nats managerial-wise, is Dusty just full-on retired now, or is there no interest for him on the part of other major league teams? What's the latest with him?
Well, the game, as you guys know, has trended so young in so many different ways that I think it's a shame. I thought Dusty did. You got to remember, Dusty inherited a pretty dysfunctional clubhouse environment when he took over that job. And whatever criticism he might get for his in-game decisions, I think they didn't win in postseason last year simply because in the last start of the season, Scherzer pulled a hamstring. I think if he goes into postseason healthy with the way Strasburg pitched in postseason, there's no way the Cubs beat them in that first round. There's just no possible way. So I thought a lot of what happened with Dusty was unfair. I thought he did an absolutely marvelous job, and he is a culture guy. And I thought he created a great culture in what was a dysfunctional situation that he inherited. And I think it's a shame that he's no longer in the game managing a team, because it's funny, guys. Sometimes, it takes a lot of years for you to figure out how to get really good at something you do. And I think Dusty is a perfect example of that. I think he evolved over the years and really turning into one heck of a manager.
Last question about the Nats, and then we'll get to some other teams in the National League. But what type of year, obviously it all depends on health, but what type of year, considering it's a contract year for Bryce, do you expect from him? And then we've heard the numbers. We've heard $400 million.
Yeah.
Do you expect him to go to the highest bidder type of team, or do you think he wants to go to a really good situation, a winning situation? What do you expect from him?
Guys, you probably know Bryce better than I do that way. Mine would be, purely, guesswork on my part. I do believe he's going to have a monster year. I think when this young man is hyper-focused, he's the best player in the game. I question at times his ability to focus day in and day out up to the level of his ability. But when the game is that easy for you, it would be really difficult to do that because he's that talented. So I think he knows what's at stake, and I think he's going to have an absolutely monster year, and his market's going to be plentiful. But, at some point in time, I would think the money's going to become relevant. He want to go in the best possible situation he could be. This will not probably be the last free agent contract he signs, so this will be a long one. He's probably going to even get another bite of the apple at some point in time in his career. So I think he's going to want to probably go to a place where he has a chance to contend for championships year in and year out, and I think the money will be phenomenal no matter where he goes.
All right, so we all expect the Nats, the Cubs, the Dodgers to be legitimate.
Yep.
Are there a few teams that maybe had down years last year that you expect to be better?
I think the Mets are going to be better. I really do. I like what they've done with the depth in their pitching. I thought the acquisition of Vargas, albeit he's not a world beater, it just provides those quality innings for them. And I think the two guys, if Syndergaard could ever really learn how to do what Scherzer's done, which is learn how to pitch, or Strasburg's done, which is learn how to pitch a little bit, he's a Cy Young type candidate, and I think DeGrom might be better than him on a every fifth day consistency basis. So I like what they've done. I do think they're going to be more competitive. I do believe the Cardinals are going to be a lot more competitive this year, and I do believe the Giants will be a lot more competitive this year. But by far, the top three teams in that league, on paper anyway, are certainly the Dodgers, the Cubs, and the Nats.
By the way, you didn't even mention Harvey.
Matt Harvey was a mess last year. What do you expect from him?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I think it gets down to, how good does Matt want to be? And what did he do this winter to put himself in a position physically best he can be? I don't think he was healthy last year, but again, I don't know where his confidence level is at. This is a really hard game to play, and confidence, even for the very best players in the game, can come and go extremely quickly. And this guy has had such a lack of success now over a long period of time. He's going to need to have some success early on, or I don't think he stays in that rotation at the start of the year.